Well, hi there folks, it's Simon, Ario's pipe smoker. It's been so long I've almost forgotten my own name. Well, winter's pretty much over here. I'm shouting a bit because of the noise of the river, please forgive me. Yeah, it wasn't too hard a winter. I haven't made any videos, to be honest, because most of the biggest reason is I've been a bit plagued with the old arthritis this winter, and so going off doing walks and things I haven't really been inspired to do it, to be honest. And when the weather has been nice, I've actually been quite busy getting firewood in. I was a bit late getting it in this year actually, so it's been a constant what's the word? Something hovering above me all the time that I'm on the brink of going out, running out of firewood. But it's spring starting. One thing I've noticed is the bird song. Can't hear it now, but in the morning the dawn chorus is starting. And so, and the other reason really for not making any videos is I haven't really had anything to make videos about, to be perfectly honest. I haven't really had any new pipes. I haven't really had any new tobaccos, and unlike some of the high roller YTPC presenters who seem to have new pipes, new tobaccos every video, I don't roll in that league. So anyway, the old Etsy shop's been going all right, giving it a good revamp. It's been ticking over quite nicely actually. I'm going to do a giveaway sometime soon. I've just got to work out some premises now. I've got a bit more time on my hands, daylight being longer and all that. But the reason I thought I'd make this video actually, because I have actually got some new tobaccos to try. Well, thanks to my good friend Ian Walker, who's one of the moderators and admins of the Pipe Club of India, which I'm sort of involved in. And we did a deal. I kind of come across an old vinyl LP, and it was actually a Dunhill promotional record. I think it's had some easy listening on it. And I picked it up because I thought, oh, it's quite interesting, you know. And yeah, so me and Ian did a bit of an exchange. He sent us over some tobacco samples, of which there's 3 or 4 Lakelands in there, which I'm kind of quite excited about, because I haven't really delved into the world of Lakelands. Quite hard to get in France, and I dare say across Europe some of them are probably hard to get. So yeah, I kind of thought I'm out on a bit of a recce, like having a look for some more fallen trees to cut up. So I thought, why not? I'll bring my camera and do a little bit of a first impressions of today's Lakeland, which is Gareth and Hogarth's Coniston cut plug. I'll probably superimpose a stock picture here because I only got a sample of it, so it's probably a bit more broken up compared to how it had come in the tin. And I'm smoking it in, and again I'll cut in I've got some photos of this pipe actually. I'll cut in some photos of it, and I thought that this pipe would tie in quite nicely in some respects. It's actually by a maker called Raoul Amiel, or Amiel, I guess. Amiel. And it's actually an Algerian pipe. Now, Raoul Amiel, he opened, I think it's possibly Algeria's first pipe factory way back in the 1930s, and I think they stayed in production up until the late 50s, because I think at that time from what I can gather, there's a bit of a scarcity in Italian briar, and when the new briar fields in French Algeria were discovered, obviously that fed into the French pipe making industry. And Raoul Amiel's family, I think they went back to the 1800s. You know, they're a line of pipe makers, and so he went out to Algeria and opened the first factory. What connection does this have to Coniston Cut Plug, I hear you say? Well, I have many childhood memories of Coniston, and I guess I'm taking it for granted that most people know that Lakeland tobaccos are from the Lake District in England, Coniston being one of the lakes. However, it's not called Coniston Lake, it's called Coniston Water, and I think it was only a couple of hundred years ago it became Coniston. Before then, I think it was called Thurston. I think it's an old Nordic name. And we used to go on camping holidays there as kids. My parents would take me and my sister up to the Lake District, and we'd camp by the lake with some other people, and we'd all bring canoes and sailing dinghies. So I grew up in quite a nautical environment, I guess. And of course, Lake Coniston is quite famous for several things, I'm sure. But I think probably the most famous thing would be the water speed records, like how fast you can get a boat down the lake. And because it's quite a long lake, so it's about 5-6 miles and it's quite narrow, compared to some of the other lakes, it's not so choppy. The water's a bit more placid. And so I'm going to get the names muddled up here, and I'm rambling because I'm so out of practice from doing a video. I think it was sometime in about the 1930s, I could be wrong. And again, I always get the names muddled up. It's father and son. I think the father was Malcolm Campbell, and he set the world record water speed record in 1930 something, and I think it's like 140 miles an hour, which is bloody terrifying on water. You know, I think the fastest I've been on water is maybe 60-70 miles an hour, and it's terrifying. And then going through the 50s and 60s, his son, which I think was Donald Campbell, but I might have got these names muddled up. He set the new record at 360 odd mile an hour, and I think he's maybe the more famous because he actually got killed on one of his, well, obviously with his last speed run. The boat like lifted out of the water, and I think hitting water at 360 odd mile an hour isn't very well. Obviously, it wasn't very pleasant because it killed him outright. And so it's the time frame of this pipe really fits into my time frame of the glory days of Coniston Water, because the other thing that's been very more important in my life than the Campbells. Many of you may know this author. They're sort of like children's books, and they were written pre-First World War, I would guess, is when they were set. So again, the timing-wise sits nicely in with the pipe. And his stories were basically about a group of children, or a family of children and a couple of friends, and they went on like sailing adventures. And a few of their books are actually set. They weren't set on Coniston Water per se, because I think it was like a fictional lake. But Arthur Anson drew upon Coniston and I think it was Windermere, and sort of combined them together and made the fictional lake for the books, Swallows and Amazons. And I think there's 3 or 4 books set on this fictional lake. And those of you who are familiar with the stories, in their like child adventures, they find this island called Wildcat Island, where the Swallows and the Amazons, the 2 groups of kids, sort of go to war with each other before they become friends. And when I was a young kid, we used to canoe or sail up the whole length of Coniston Water down to Wildcat Island and have a picnic there. And so Coniston cut plug, they actually brought back loads of childhood memories of Coniston water. So yeah, I guess I've loosely linked the pipe into the tobacco. I have a little bit of the tobacco left. They come bundled in with a lot of other tobaccos, a couple of quite aromatic, and there has been a bit of a smell bleed over. So the tin note, and also I think in samples you do lose a bit of the overall tin note, obviously. Yeah, I mean it doesn't appear to be very strong in this sample, the tin note, but like I say, it's a sample that's been wrapped up with some other tobaccos. I am getting, I guess it's what people call the soapy thing. To me, it smells a bit more like baby's talcum powder, which I'm not sure what the smell profiles of that is. I mean, I'd say there's a bit of lavender in there. I think it's quite a complicated smell, quite a complicated aroma profile makes up this soapy talcum powdery smell. I imagine this. I mean, when I worked on a blackcurrant farm in England, we used to sell, believe it or not, we used to pick all of the little unsprouted leaf buds off the dormant bush, and they would go off to one of the big horrible companies that make Glaxo or something, and it actually went into toothpaste and toiletry aromas. So, and also the tin note of this, or the sample bag note, there's a bit of sweetness to it, and also I mean, again, if you open the tin, I'm probably way off mark, but also a slight smokiness, not Latakia smokiness. And so when I looked this up on whatever it is, tobacco reviews, isn't it? I think it's like 75% dark fired, and I believe it's Virginia dark fired. I could be wrong again. And the rest is equal amounts Malawi, Burley, and Virginia. And I must say, I'm not smoking it very fast because I'm talking. I'm not one of those people. I find it hard to talk and smoke a pipe at the same time. One thing I guess the initials, I mean, it's pretty much the char like this, to be honest. I always give my pipes a little char light before I leave the house. It stops the tobacco falling out. So, yeah, the topping is noticeable for sure. It doesn't taste too dissimilar to the tin note, actually. But it's not very... it's definitely not overpowering. And compared to some of the aromatics, this is my second or third bowl of this. I'm finding that the aroma, the Lakeland essence, I guess that's the technical term, it's kind of weaving around the tobacco flavours rather than sitting on top and dominating them. I think it's quite a strong tobacco. It's very smooth. But I've got quite a high nicotine tolerance, so I can't really give an objective nicotine strength. It's got kind of quite a dark, strong taste to it. I imagine the nicotine's quite high. And I found it's very dependent, as all tobaccos are in a way, I guess, on how gentle puff or a bigger puff seems to touch different taste buds. It doesn't really taste of it smells like the tobacco is sweeter in the bag than it actually tastes. To me, it's not coming over as an overly sweet tobacco. More on I'm really bad at describing flavours. Quite hard to a dry flavour. Doesn't really make sense, does it? By the way, it's actually a really, I kind of rate it as a tobacco actually, to be fair. I'm not a big arrow smoker, a bit in the summer. I guess Lakelands are aromatics. I don't know. But this is something I could definitely get quite in tune with actually. And the topping does seem to stay quite well as you go down the bowl, but the overall, I guess it's the dark fired flavour profiles that get more dominant as you go in. But I'd say it's not ultra heavily topped. I mean, my first initial char light when I first tried it, it reminded me, I'm not saying this is the same, but it reminded me a little bit of you know when you do the char light of the Orlick Golden Slice, to me there's a definite soapiness to it that soon dissipates. But this is not dissimilar, I guess, but it doesn't seem to dissipate, and of course it's from completely different background tobaccos, so. Yeah, it's an interesting blend. I heard a really interesting radio programme on BBC Radio 4 a week or two back, and it was all about the art of blending actually. I think it's a bit of a series. They've done like wine blending, I think one's going to be on perfumes, I doubt there'll be a tobacco one. But it's kind of quite interesting, the science behind blending, and I think it's really relevant to the tobacco world. As in what makes a great blend. I mean, whiskies and wineries, when they make a blend, it's to create a new flavour profile and you can't identify the original components. And this is one thing, there doesn't seem to be a conclusive scientific sort of conclusion on this. It doesn't matter if it's wine or perfume or tobacco, I guess, or anything else that gets blended, whiskies, brandies, you know, whatever. And sometimes you put 2 or 3 elements together and they won't blend. You'll be able to detect the different flavour profiles or the different aroma profiles. This isn't considered a good blend in many industries because the whole purpose of blending is to create a new flavour profile from existing flavours. And there doesn't seem to be any consensus on this. And I guess the same is very true of tobacco, but some blends, it's quite, or you can quite easily identify most of the component parts. Whereas other blends, it's a little bit trickier. I mean, also if you put a bit of Latakia in, it's going to taste of Latakia, but, you know, the Virginias, Cavendishes, Creek to a certain level, I guess, Burleys, mean, some blends, I don't have the ability to pick them apart. I suspect when I read some of the reviews and tobacco reviews, I don't know. I don't want to take away from people that write these wonderful reviews, and it's only people's opinions. But sometimes I'll smoke it, and I just cannot relate to anything that everyone else seems to have written about this tobacco. So. Well, I think that's probably about a wrap for this video. It's probably a bit jumbly. I'm really out of practice. It's going to take me ages now to edit it and try and remember how the software works and all of this kind of stuff. But it's inspired me to get out of the house a bit, take the camera with me. That's all good. Well, yeah, I'm going to sign off. Like I say, I'm working out some kind of giveaway. Not any particular reason. Just get reacquainted with the other presenters and stuff. Really. Like I say, I just had a step back from the whole social media thing. Really. Okay folks, thanks for watching. Thanks to all of the new subscribers. Hold on, my phone's ringing. Not anymore. As I say, yeah, thanks to all my new subscribers and to all the old subscribers. I've probably got loads of comments I haven't answered. And I'm probably not going to answer them, to be honest, because it's going through answering comments from a month ago, so I'm probably just going to draw a line under them and start again from the top. Alright then guys, thanks for your time. I say I'm going to do a giveaway soon. I've got a bit of grouse more to do a bit of an impressions on, and a bit of Ennerdale, and a couple of some quite nice German aromatics actually. More on that on the next videos. Alright guys, take care, and I'll see you hopefully not in another 3 or 4 months time. Alright guys, bye now.